Hey, and welcome to my trigger-proof transmission. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel by smashing that subscribe button. And if you wait until the end, I will show you how to get access to my masterclass or workshop called Should I Stay or Go? Powerful training that helps you make the 5 transitions required to know the answer to should I stay, should I go, and heal these repetitive patterns without years of counseling or psychotherapy.
As well. All right.
Yeah.
Looks like we are live. Hopefully, I can't see it yet, but it says that we're live streaming on Facebook, so we might just give it a moment to kick in to make sure. Yes, we are there. Awesome. Well, hi everyone. Welcome back to today's episode of Naked TV, where we're going to get so raw about some real topics today. Nice.
We're so raw, I got to get on my blue blocking glasses because to protect myself from my eyes from the rawness that's about to happen.
Oh, this
I'm
conversation is
ready.
going to be juicy too. So we're definitely going to get real and vulnerable today. But we have Nima back. You are so requested. And we did a call maybe about 4 weeks ago. And everyone in the comments was asking for you to come back and to share around, well, what does a healthy relationship even look like? And I think we're all confused, right?
Where the fuck do we begin to unpack all of this? Where did we learn? Great question.
There's a lot of baggage to unpack in this one.
Yeah, I think that is a great question to ask, but go ahead. Well, I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, well, and I just wanted to share to open this up is that we actually met on the back of me coming out of one of the longest relationships in my life so far. And clearly it ended because it wasn't a healthy, secure relationship. And, you know, what I recognized was, you know, relationships are totally 50-50, but you take yourself with you. And if you're not ready for ownership, complete radical, and to be honest, fucking brutal ownership, the work that we did, it was brutal, but necessary. Yeah. Brutal in the best way. Yeah. But really just taking that mirror and taking full ownership for my wounds that really contributed and really unconsciously at the time to how I was showing up.
Well, the thing is that taking responsibility doesn't mean taking the blame.
Yes.
There's a huge distinction. This is why people have such a difficult time with this. I get the most hate and comments and triggered people who feel like I'm talking about blaming. And let's just throw that word out the window when we talk about relationships, because the reason why we have such a deep kind of wound about that word is because when things go wrong, there's a part of us that blames ourselves. And then there's another part of us that blames the other person. So we keep going kind of back and forth between one and the other. And there's no resolution from there because deep down inside, we just want to be seen and heard, and nobody's out to try to deliberately hurt somebody else. It's just so happens that relationships end up hurting because of unconscious behavior. So all this conversation is about bringing the unconscious shadow to the conscious so that we can then just stop, you know, the blame game and then say, all right, let's put that story aside and create a secure relationship. And so that's what I want this I'd love for this conversation to be about, because that's what you guys were requesting. So,
and it's interesting just listening to you speak and reflecting on my experience is that when you helped me really dig in and uncover some of those unconscious wounds from my past, I could really link the dots on how that certain behaviors in a relationship, and it's not, you know, any blame, like you said, was causing me, or I guess at a level I was choosing to react. I was going to say respond. I was reacting in really negative ways that did not contribute to a healthy, secure relationship because of those wounds. But when you're not conscious of those wounds, you're not conscious of that trigger and that reaction. And that's when you start blaming, oh, it's him. He's doing this to me.
This is the world is full of that. And I'm more interested in a completely different conversation, a conversation that only has to do with healing.
Mm-hmm.
And healing requires taking responsibility. So what I wanted to, after our last call, this call was birthed at the end of last call when you made one comment. You were like, so then how are we supposed to know what a secure relationship is supposed to look like? Like, how am I supposed to create one when I don't know what the hell to look for? And I'm like, beautiful question. So let's dig into that. Let's dive into that today, shall we?
Let's go.
So what I wanted to kind of to share, first of all, why we show up, why relationships end up being so difficult, why, you end up dating the same type of person. You keep rehashing the same arguments again and again in the same relationship, or you break up with that one and you keep going and why do I always date narcissists? Why am I always dating unavailable people? Why am I always dating liars? Everyone I'm with is a liar, and you start after a while, you become disillusioned because, um, you know, you tried and you are a good person. Why is it that it's not seen and there's no connection made? And the answer to that has everything to do with our childhood. Um, if you take a look at your parents' relationship with one another, these are the two factors I want you to get. Factor number one is uh, actually can I share my screen? Can you give
Yeah.
me privileges? I got some notes that you can take that's going to be useful. So let me share my screen with you. And there are two considerations that you must make if you want to create a secure relationship. Okay? So this is really about creating secure relationships. So two considerations. Consideration number one is relationship of parents with each other. So take that moment. Take a moment and let's use your case as an example. What was the relationship like between your parents? Was there a security? Was there an kind of unequal power dynamic? Was one of them the narcissist and the other the codependent? Did you have the opinion that there was an equal mutual kind of consideration? What, what, you know, how did they do? In other words, the question you want to ask is, how did they do conflict? How did they do conflict? So what was it for you in your situation?
So my parents were separated when I was very young, so I don't remember their relationship dynamic. But it wasn't, growing up, it was at times, I don't know if volatile is the word, but it wasn't friendly initially.
Totally. And without you knowing that, little little Kira got certain messages and beliefs about relationships and conflict, whether they're conflicting and volatile all the time or you never saw it. When two human beings are in the same space, they're going to be a clashing of values. That's not, news. The question is, when there's a rupture or an argument called a rupture or a misattunement, when they're not, two, like for example, you and I, our relationship, our friendship, our, business relationship, we're attuned to one another. We don't talk each and every day, but anytime you and I have ever, if there has been a conflict, there's a repair. So in my experience of my relationship with you, Kira, for example, we're attuned. We're not misattuned with one another. There's nothing I haven't shared as far as unresolved emotions. So we're attuned. But the more time we spend with one another, there's going to be a higher likelihood of misattunement or rupture. Let's say I don't show up for one of our appointments, 3 of our appointments, and now you're pissed. Boom, I've contributed to a rupture between us. The question is, did I learn the skills in how to repair a rupture? Do you know what I mean? Like
That's a
when
powerful
conflict,
question right there.
yes, it's a very good question. So in your home, this is a question you want to ask yourself when you're considering relationships and security and stuff. When there was conflict in your home, which rupture and misattunement is normal between brother and sister, sister, mother, father, whatever, what was modeled to you? How were you modeled rupture repair or misattunement repair? That is the first consideration when we're creating secure relationships. Now, if you were like most people, unless you had unicorn parents, I sure as fuck didn't. They're great people. They just didn't do conflict really well because they never learned the skills. I learned how to do conflict from them. And I said, I never, ever want to have a relationship like theirs. Then I got married and I realized, holy shit, I've turned into my mother and father. How many of you can resonate with this? You promised you wouldn't have a relationship like that. Well, it just so happens that the foundation of my neurological system is centered under creating what was familiar. So that's the first consideration. The
Can I ask
second,
Nima, just on that point,
yeah, sure.
can that extend to your relationship with your siblings? Would that have influence?
Everything,
Yeah.
everything. Like, this is where, like, you know, it's funny because Russ, you've met Russ. Russ and I got into a misattunement last year. We had a misattunement last year. And I felt like I was fighting with my brother. I have a twin brother, and I'm not the misattunements and arguments with him are I'm no stranger to that. And I was like, what the fuck? It feels like I'm having the same thing. There's like a competitive thing going on. We've since healed that misattunement, of course, but brother and sister, mother, father, that's stuck in your nervous system.
Yeah.
So if you haven't had the training in taking a rupture and learning how to restore that integrity, well, guess what? You're not going to do it properly. Just don't expect to be a fucking wizard, a master at it when you're married with 3 kids. If you haven't taken the time.
You really helped me to connect those dots that it was actually the extremely toxic and volatile relationship with my brother growing up. And, we've since, grown up and it's not like that anymore. But arguments within my relationship were triggering all of those childhood wounds, and I was reacting and reverting to just being a child in that moment.
Right. And then now your partner, who's your husband, now becomes like your brother.
Yeah.
And you just kind of like trying to poke each other's eyeballs out like 2 kids in a sandbox. And that's just, there's no romance to that. There's no winning. You can't win this game, right? Number
No
2.
one wins.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2 is your relationship of parents with you. This is where we have this is where we have the different attachment styles. Now, the attachment styles that can come, if you didn't have the consistency of a mother that was there consistently, you didn't know who was showing up one moment to the next, or she was gone for a few days and you didn't really have any idea of what's happening, and you felt like you constantly had to perform for love, to be loved, you developed what's called an anxious attachment style. Okay, this is where you feel like you have to perform for love. This is the thing. You always constantly feel like there's a deficit. There is a, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a scarcity of love, and I need to work for it. It's outside of me, and I can't be okay unless somebody outside of me validates me. Okay, this is the anxious attachment style. This is when we become perceived by others as being needy, questioning ourselves, doubting ourselves, pleasing. This is, also you'll be a pleaser. you know. The second attachment style, if you've had this relationship with your parents where your big emotions came up and they just weren't around to give you emotional attunement and regulate you. Uh, Big emotions didn't have any consequence. You were never seen and heard. You then become like an island. You then kind of camp out on your own and you just want to separate yourself from others, and that's called an avoidant attachment style. Now, the interesting thing about anxious and avoidant, avoidance and anxious are like moths to a flame for one another. In other words, an avoidant will go on a date with another avoidant and they'd be like, I'm not interested. So the anxious attachment style tends to really gravitate towards an avoidant. Because if the anxious attachment style person had the experience of a parent not really being around, not really attuning emotionally and um, being inconsistent where you had to constantly feel like you had to work for love, well then the avoidant acts exactly like that, repeating that pattern. So the anxious attachment really loves that avoidance. So when somebody, the anxious attached is used to working hard for love. So when somebody comes really willing to be loving towards you, if you're anxious, you'll be like, I'm not interested. I'm not into that. They're attracted to me. I actually want someone who doesn't give two shits about me because it's so familiar. This longing for love is so fucking familiar. This person really is stable and they really love me and they want to make me a priority. I'm not interested. I want to go after the person who treats me like shit and is avoidant because it reminds me of when I was a child and I had to work for love. That I've mistaken for that's what love is. Does this
Does that
resonate?
produce a certain like at home feeling? Like even though it makes them feel safe because it's a known
It's a
feeling.
known. It's familiar. It's like, just like my father, this is love. Maybe if I win this person's love and finally get them to validate me, when I get these little intermittent hits of validation reward,
Mhm,
like a drug,
mhm,
because it 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 gives us the illusion that finally I've caught in connection with the father that I never could have,
mhm.
right? But then of course it's short-lived because as soon as things get really close and tight, the avoidant then says, uh-oh, it's dangerous to need this person because as soon as I'm going to have big emotions, they're going to be gone. I can't trust love. So I'm going to kind of push them away in advance so that I don't have to feel rejection. Both of the styles come from the same uh, st- uh, kind of foundation, which is insecurity. We have this insecurity that love is not safe, that we are not worthy and deserving of it. There's a third style as well that I haven't mentioned. It's not as common. It's called disorganized, but disorganized attached. This is when you had kind of physical violence or your primary caregivers. Um, they you needed them for safety, but they were dangerous and they were kept creating no-win situations for you. Like, clean your room, you clean the room um, to please them, and then they come in and they say, you didn't do it right, and it's just like this experience of I can't win. You show up in relationships with one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake, where you feel paralyzed and stuck, and you're not moving and frozen, but there's a great deal of emotional upheaval happening inside, right? All of this equates to insecure attachments. And we start to show up when these are not properly dealt with. We show up in relationships insecure, needing external validation and approval, deep down feeling unworthy of it. So unconsciously, we keep sabotaging and pushing it away with our behavior, whether we're literally physically pushing it away or we're becoming so annoying to the person that they feel like an emotional tampon. They feel like you're just using, like they just feel so used for their emotional, uh, you're just using them to dump your emotions on, that they're just like, oh, you're too much work, give me space, right? So either way, because they don't have the ability, all because of an inability to self-regulate and become trigger-proof and aware and conscious of this, we then keep repeating patterns, expecting the next person to save us from it. And essentially, we then lose out on the opportunity to create what's called a secure relationship. Secure relationship. What is that? So what is that? It's good. It's a good question to ask what a secure relationship is like. But so here's the target. So with all this going on, you might be thinking, well, this has been the story of my life in some certain way. I can relate to this. How do I know what a secure relationship feels like? Well, here's what it feels like. Secure relationship is when you've healed those attachment wounds from your parents and you've learned the communication strategies of taking a conflict, a misattunement, and then turning it into deeper intimacy, because you've taken that trigger and you've learned how to dance with it and to turn that trigger, which becomes kind of like this lack of safety, I'm not safe, I'm not good enough, into deeper self-love. Because you've taken the time to expand that space between stimulus and response, a conflict can happen and you can dismantle it in a very short period of time. And when you do, you then start to feel predominantly relaxed with your partner most of the time. So I look at my marriage right now. I never had a secure relationship before, but when I look and I see in a 1 week time frame, when I'm going into the felt sense in my body when I'm with Diana, I feel predominantly relaxed with her most most of the time. Of course, we have a 7-month-old. There's sleep. There's all this. We vary. But when you look at the big picture, you're feeling predominantly relaxed most of the time. Number two is that there's an ease of flow between being close in connection to those times being in your own space and your own aloneness. For example, in your case, let's say you're dating somebody, Kira,
Mhm.
when you're with each other and you're about to leave, if you don't live in the same place, the time apart, you're not anxious. What's he doing? Is he with me? Is he cheating? Is he with somebody else? You just kind of have this ease of flow and trust. And when you're about to, see each other, you feel like excited to be around one another. There's not this crazy sense of anxiety. It's just kind of like this safe feeling, kind of like a warm cup of oatmeal. It's you feel that safety when you're being close in connection, and also there's an ease of flow between the two. There isn't this, oh my God, I haven't seen you. What the heck's going on? And you start punishing them and creating arguments. This is what happens in the insecure attachment is you create arguments when you're getting back together or when you're about to leave. There's a familiarity to it, right? Secure relationship, there's a flow between connecting and parting ways. And
I just have a question on that. Can I ask? Because I
sure,
know people,
please.
this gets asked a lot for every topic. What if you're the only partner in the dynamic doing the work and showing up this way? How would that influence a secure relationship?
Okay, so I'm going to invite you to ask that question differently.
Mhm.
That doesn't start with what if,
Yeah.
because this way I can help you come out with an outcome. What's the outcome you're looking
I
for in
think
that
the
question?
question that comes up a lot from the ladies, it's mainly women who listen to these calls, is often, not always, but often it's the woman who is going on that spiritual journey first and they're doing the work, and then they may feel frustrated that they're doing the work, but their partner isn't ready yet to step into that and do it together.
Right, right. And so in those situations, there's two things that'll happen. Ideally, we want our partners to do the work so that we can feel validated. When you do the work, the spiritual journey, so that for the purpose of fully loving yourself, it's totally different. It's a totally different vibe. Most people, and if this offends you, then there's something for you to look at, because I'm not saying it personal to anybody listening, but something to really look at is, why are you doing the work? Why? And most of the time, it's an inauthentic reason. It's so that they can finally acknowledge me and see me and da-da-da-da. Bullshit. Quit bullshitting yourself. That is an inauthentic reason. The reason for the work itself is to gain a greater sense of self-love and self-trust so that you're not requiring external validation. The reason why they're resisting the work is simply because you're full of shit when you're doing the work. No offense, because the clients we work with don't go in and just say, why aren't you doing this course with me? Basically, what the partner feels when you're saying that is, you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're truly dedicated to doing your own inner work, you're not trying to force somebody to do it. You're actually doing it for your own sake. Let me give you an example of what this is, because this is the best argument I love to dismantle. Well, what if he's not doing it? I'm like, okay, first of all, you never asked a question if you start it with a what if. What is it that you really want? I really invite you to look at that question and ask and say, how do I get him? This is the real question you want to ask. Okay? How can I get him on board with developing himself more? And the answer to that question is, doing the inner work and facing our shadows is very fucking hard. And most of us will resist it. Most of you listening are going to resist it. And it's like weight loss. How are you going to get your husband to lose weight? Are you going to fucking pound him and sign him up for CrossFit and set him up for 6 a.m. CrossFit courses? No, he's got to want to do it. How will he? The question you want to ask is, how can I get him to want to? By dedicating myself wholeheartedly to doing my own work, and literally to the point where this is what happens with our clients. The client, the partners look and go, what the fuck has gotten into you? You're like a completely different person. I get text messages from the husbands and wives of our clients saying, honestly, my partner is a completely different person. Please sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they're like, why you look at what I did. I'm taking this course. And well, you're not actually doing the work then. If you're doing it for their validation and for them to change, you've missed the whole fucking point. And I can tell.
So fucking powerful, especially men and women, but I know women tend to be more emotional and up and down. But when you really do the work, your state and just getting into that feminine energy where you trust yourself fully, you become
You won't be complaining. You
Yeah.
won't be complaining about him anymore. I can tell you've done the work when you're no longer complaining about them.
Yeah, but he will love your energy so much and just crave to be around that, because you just become this beautiful free space that gives him the freedom to be
He literally will shift. And I'm not saying to justify whatever. I'm just saying, look at it like weight loss. People do not want to face their shadows. People do not want to own up to take responsibility. They don't. The only reason how I know, people message me and go, can you help my husband? And I go, does your husband follow my content? No. No, then this is not, I don't want to take him on. This is your work to do, to work on the parts of yourself that feel invalidated because of their behavior. This work is for you and for you only. And when you do it for the right reason, you literally become a transformational space. Not only do they either step up and meet you, oh, that's option one. Option two is then going, you know what? I deserve somebody who will kind of meet me where I'm at, to my emotional maturity level. I'm no longer available for anything less. And you truly will mean it. It's just, but the problem is you're like, what's the point of me doing it if he won't do the work? It's like,
Nima, the most powerful gift that you really gave me in our work together, moving into the dating space and all of that, was really just that self-love and absolute trust in myself. And so there's so much freedom for me in the dating game. And you talked before about that whole anxious getting together and being apart. I have so much freedom in myself and so much trust in myself that I don't spend my time in doubt and mistrust in people, because I will always be able to fall on my feet and trust myself. And when you have that, the relationships become free, and freedom is, when you can have freedom within your relationship, that's that beautiful ultimate goal, right?
It's just about creating security within, and which is very difficult to do because we all really like to hold on to our victim narrative and make other people have to change their behavior so that we can change and feel safer inside of us. Where this work is totally for people who are outside of that game and are really committed to creating security within. And how do you know? The most secure people are the ones that are willing to be the only one. This is a big one. I'm willing to be the only one to see me, hear me, and love me. That's very difficult. Let me say that again. I am willing to be the only one to see me, hear me, and love me. And when I get to that place, which is very, very difficult, it's a trek up a mountain, right? I then become a secure container. I become a container where secure relationship can thrive. I don't worry, am I going to meet the right person? I am the right person. I bring myself, my secure ass with me wherever I go. I'm bringing my secure ass with me to every friendship, to every relationship, to every business transaction, to every client call. I am not acting out of a fear of losing you. I am completely authentically myself because I feel secure within myself. That's your only way out. Otherwise, when you don't take that work on, you're looking for people outside of you to give what you're lacking inside. And I'm sorry, but it'll never be enough. So there's an ease of flow between being close in connection to those times being alone. Number 3, whenever you hit a glitch, okay, like a misattunement, the words I like to use is a rupture or a misattunement. Argument happens regularly. But when you hit a glitch, it becomes relatively easy for you to apologize, to brainstorm a win-win with them, or to repair any of these misattunements or fractures or misunderstandings. So there's an ease whenever you hit a glitch. Like you don't hit that glitch and then 3 weeks there's, no speaking and all of that stuff, right? When you're in a secure relationship, you then have this general feeling that people are essentially good at heart. There's a basic goodness to them. When you're in a secure relationship, you prioritize keeping your agreements with your partner, right? And when you're in a secure relationship, you're discovering and working at attempting to meet the needs of your partner, and you feel comfortable expressing your own needs and receiving their attention and care. Let me say that one again, because that's a huge distinction. In a secure relationship, you're constantly looking to discover and attempt to meet the needs of your partner, and you also feel comfortable expressing your needs and receiving their attention and care. You will be mind-blowing to you how many people, say they want a secure relationship, but then it's very difficult for them to receive. And if you have a difficulty in receiving, it's not your fault and it's not your partner's fault. There's a wounded child inside that doesn't feel worthy. And so your work to create a secure relationship is to address her directly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Very powerful.
So the next one is when you're in a secure relationship, what do secure relationships look like? Well, it's like you actively are trying to protect each other from any harm. There's just this feeling of ownership. The word is positive ownership. And ownership doesn't mean like in the controlling, manipulative ownership, like R. Kelly ownership. I'm not talking about that. There's R. Kelly ownership. That's not it. There's an ownership. There's a feeling of kind of like when a man like has this car, this beautiful car. He washes it. He takes it apart, clean. Like like the rims are perfect. It's because it's his. When you have a house, when you live, you're renting, and then all of a sudden you're renting, but then you own the home. What happens? You're like, oh my gosh, now everything is like you wash it carefully. It's like this active ownership with one another where you're like, it's like positive ownership. It's not control. It's not there. I'm not talking about the energy of controlling ownership either. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that because I've written that down. Protecting each other from harm. I think what a beautiful, powerful statement to have as your mantra in your relationship or
Totally. Because
between you. That's
the
fucking valid.
world is a scary place, Kira. You
Yeah.
know, like just earlier, in the morning, I woke up and I was like, hey, let's go for a drive. So me and Dominic and Diana, we just go for a drive, shopping, charge up the car, come back, and all of a sudden my back goes out. We go for lunch and my back literally just seizes up, which is kind of embarrassing because I'm a chiropractor. And now I can't fucking move. I can't sit. So I'm standing for this call. Uh, but just to have her there and be like, can I do something for you? Can I like, it's like, wow, you know what? That's what a secure relationship is about. It's like, I totally felt her taking care of, not that she's rescuing me, but it's like, fuck, the world is difficult. It's so much better to have somebody you feel is like got your back and is protecting you and you're doing the same and inspired to do the
But
same
also
for one
protecting
another.
them from our own shit. Like I think about how many times, and I'm sure everyone can put their name and their hand up for this, where we actively harm our partner because of our own toxicity in our own,
Totally.
space.
And our own, yeah.
We're actively
Secure relation.
pissing me off. So how do I fucking harm him back?
Yeah. A secure relationship is knowing about your shadows, not having a judgment towards them. But like Diana will say, look, I'm taking space away because I want to process stuff. I don't want to say something to you that I'm going to regret later. And my teammate, Kim, who works with me and the community managers, we've been working together for years, and we get into a disagreement and she'll say, yeah, I don't want to respond to you. Just give me some time because I don't want to say something that I'm going to regret. And that's like, thank you.
Yeah, I've learned that skill in the past couple of years, and it's transformational. And it's just
So good.
you really just need to learn inner pause and don't send how you feel in the moment. Just
Right.
take a few hours to
Like,
breathe.
right. Look, right now I'm pissed off at you, Kira, and I'm not going to respond right now because I don't want to say something that I'm going to regret. And then you're going to be like, wow, Nima, really? I really appreciate that as your friend. Like, that's taking responsibility, not blame. This is what this is how we break the cycles of intergenerational trauma, because it didn't start with me. It didn't start with you, but here we are. You're taking the red pill. You can't go back to sleep taking the blue pill and then pretending like you don't know. It was shitty that you went through what you did. And here we are. Let's take responsibility for healing what's ours, because the future of humanity actually depends on it. So that's a big one, is actively protecting each other from harm, even if that harm is from yourself. You're like, look, if we keep talking, it's not going to end up good for both of us. So let's just take a break for it, right? So that's actively protecting each other from harm. The Another kind of thing that you want to look for in a secure relationship as you're climbing that mountain and building it, because it's a work in progress, by the way. I haven't finished line here. I'm a student of this. I'm humble enough to realize I'm learning every day, every week. I'm learning how to do this. It's a work in progress. Secure relationship is a work in progress. It's not a finish line. You got to be willing to want to learn. Um, it's also when you are attempting to maintain safety in your relationship and trusting your partner to be a safe haven for you. Emotional safety and psychological safety. In other words, it's safe for you to express yourself. This is a big challenge. The reason why people will stonewall you and cut people, like he he cuts himself off. He doesn't talk to me. He shuts down and doesn't talk, and he's just, well, it's because he doesn't feel safe. And I'm not blaming you. I'm saying people want to be seen and heard. They just don't feel safe expressing themselves, because if I were to, they've tried to express their feelings and they've been so invalidated that it's just like, I might as well just shut down, because it's not safe to express my truth around you. Now, in order for you to be a safe container for me to express my truth around you, you're going to have to be able to regulate your reactivity when you feel criticized. When I'm giving you feedback, you're going to take criticism just like mom used to do. You're going to lose your shit and then you're going to get defensive and then you're going to invalidate what I say to you. Well, it's flipped. This will happen with me too. If I, you know, you give me feedback that hey, Nima, you're not present with me. If I'm not resolved in that wound, I'll be like, "Oh," just like my mom used to complain all the time that my attention wasn't on her. Then I get defensive on you. And I say, what about you? You were on your phone last night too. And then the whole time, now Kira's like, okay, well, you just invalidated my feedback for you. All you were saying was, I want your presence. I want more of you. And now now you've ended up feeling invalidated when all you were saying was, I want more of your presence. But because I wasn't able to create uh, self-regulation, your feedback was pushed aside, and now you don't feel safe expressing yourself around me. So in secure relationships, you're actively working on yourself to create a safe container so that you can share how you feel, even though it's going to be difficult. Boy, there's sometimes getting feedback. It's like getting a stab in your heart, right? But I want you to feel safe with me. So I'm willing to feel all of those feelings so that I could, I'm willing to feel all the feelings for the sake of creating a secure space for our relationship. Does that make sense?
Very
You
powerful.
know, what would open up for you? Think about it. When you get this part right, and we just did this in our training, in our kind of group training, we took the worst, this is kind of something that you'd like to do, the worst criticism that somebody would give you right now. This is what we did. In our group programs, we basically teach you how to create secure relationships. So one of the trainings that I did, it was a great one. I said, write down a criticism of you that if somebody were to criticize you, would you cause you to lose your shit? This is a good one. This is the shit that I do in my trainings with my crazy ass clients. And I'm like, just think of what it is we're working on right now. It's like nobody's doing this. Like write down the worst criticism. Like for me a couple of years ago, if you called me a narcissist, I would have lost my shit on you because deep down inside, there's a narcissistic part of myself I'm not okay with, I haven't looked at. And by you giving me feedback about that part, my shadow, that gets triggered and then I get defensive. I go, no, you're a narcissist. No, I'm not. You are. Look at what you do. And then I'll give you a laundry list of all the shit you've done to prove that you're a narcissist and that I don't have to deal with my shame of it. And then now I basically validate your opinion of me because that's exactly what a fucking narcissist would do. And that's basically, I was like, wait, okay, so how can I solve this? Well, what we did is we took that criticism of ourselves. Actually, write it down in the group right now. If somebody criticized you, what criticism of you would cause you to lose it? What's the thing that when people tell you causes you to lose it? And put a star beside that because there's a window of opportunity for you to heal if you're willing to get uncomfortable. And that part of you represents a part of your shadow, a younger part of yourself that you don't like, that you've tried really hard to avoid and pretend like is not there. And the truth of the matter is the people closest to you can totally see your shadows. It's just well hidden from ourselves because of our self-deception. And by getting connected with that part and understanding that part and loving that part of myself, then you can give me feedback that I'm being narcissistic. And now I'm like, yeah, I can totally see that I can be narcissistic sometimes. Tell me what you'd like. Tell me how can I help you? Like what would have you feeling like I was more empathetic towards you? See, now you can call me a narcissist and now in a conversation, and now I'll be able to go, oh, she's giving me feedback because she's just saying she wants my empathy. She wants to be heard by me. She's not trying to attack me. She wants my help. So now criticism, it's safer now than ever to criticize me. Which ironically now my career has gotten bigger than it's ever been because I'm willing to take more criticism than I've ever have. And the more willingness you are to take feedback, the bigger, without making it mean that you're unlovable, the bigger your life is going to be, the more safer and secure relationships will feel. So here's the question you want to ask. How safe is it to give you feedback about something that I'm not quite happy with about you? The key, if it's not easy for you to take that, one of the key components of a narcissist, covert or overt, you might be covert, might be overt, I'm not sure. The key component is a narcissist cannot handle criticism. They will defend it, they will deny it, and people will then say, what's the point? I'll just keep it to myself. I'll just shut down because you're not safe. This was a big of secure relationships that women and men who are having troubles don't really want to look at. The safer you are to be given feedback to because you've dealt with those shadows, you've done your shadow work, the safer you are to be in a relationship with. You create emotional safety. Emotional safety doesn't come from outside of you, in other words. It comes from within myself when I've integrated all those parts of myself that I've been trying to deny. The shadow parts, the parts of me that are selfish and stuff that I pretend are not there. Once I've brought them all in and I'm okay with all of them, you can tell me whatever you feel about me and I'd be like, I hear you. Thank you for your feedback. Point taken. I can see you really want a connection with me. Because most feedback, unless they're being jerks, can be constructive. You can tell when someone's just being an asshole, but most of the time people are giving me feedback because they genuinely love me and they want more of me. That's why people are giving us feedback and criticize. That's why your family members criticize you, because they love you and they want more of you. They want more of your presence and they want to be seen and heard by you and validated by you. They just don't know how to communicate that yet. So this was a powerful one for me that completely changed my work relationships, my relationships with clients. I'm more open to feedback because, I can maintain safety and trust because I trust myself, right? Is that one relevant for you?
So relevant.
Big. It's
I'm
big for
sure
all of us.
listening to this content, just like for me, I'm running through all of my relationships of the past and like, man, I wish they taught this stuff at school.
Right? And here we are looking at, it's just about taking responsibility. Yes, the other person has their role. Yes, but I'm not responsible for it. I'm responsible for my own. They're responsible for their weight loss themselves or their whatever. I can just take responsibility for myself and communicate what my needs are and be willing to walk away if I'm not getting them without making myself or them wrong. It's a really simple but difficult concept, right? So here's another hallmark of a secure relationship is when you look at your partner, can you look and feel kindness and caring? That's a big one. Like you look forward to spending time with them, right? If you look at your partner with kindness and when I look at Diana, I just see just pure love. When sometimes I catch her looking at me and she's just kind of smiling and I'm like, oh, wow, like she didn't have to say anything. I could feel the love there. When you're looking at each other with kindness and caring and you look forward to spending time together, like after this call is done, I can't wait to go to the bedroom and snuggle up Dominic and Diana. Like something I'm looking forward to. That is a trait of a secure relationship. That's how you know a secure relationship is. And you can actually create a container within yourself where somebody's looking forward to spending time with you versus, oh God, when I'm with this person, is this going to be more work? Because they're using me as their emotional safety blanket. You know, this person is responsible for my happiness, you know? So if oftentimes we use relationships to validate us, and when they're not doing it right, we're not, we get upset and we put it on them, and then we stop feeling safe. We're not a safe container anymore, right? So that's another thing, a note, being able to look at your partner with kindness and caring and looking forward to spending time together. The next one, here's a big one. A secure relationship is the ability to respect your partner's privacy and respect the boundaries of the relationship. Okay? Ability to respect your partner's privacy. It's like, okay, you know, and respect the boundaries of a relationship. If you're not able to do that, then that's not a secure relationship. Because probably because you weren't taught, and it's not your fault. I'm just saying this is what a secure relationship feels like. Like, you know, I respect my wife's privacy. Um, you know, I respect my wife's my wife respects my privacy, and I have really nothing to hide from her. So I don't see her sneaking around checking my phone. I have no interest in looking what's on her phone. Although, like, I'm not opposed to it. I'm like, hey, like, it's weird because I was never like that before. I was like, don't look at my phone. It's none of your business, right? Respect my privacy, boundaries. But then it was because I was hiding something. Now it's just like, here you go. And the next one here is a secure relationship is you go to each other first for celebrations and for kind of hurts. It's like, this is the person I want to go to first. That's a hallmark of a secure relationship. When you have good news, you have bad news, you go to them first, right? Because let's face it, the world is scary. We're going into the unknown. So the reason why we have relationships is so that we don't feel alone in this unknownness, right? And so with wounds, with celebrations, good news, bad news, you have somebody to go to first. And a secure relationship also is that there's the availability for safe touch and affection. It just feels safe to be around. There's not this constant feeling of, oh my gosh, it's not safe. Is it going to go away? That's more of the anxious attachment. And so what I want to say is that these traits of a secure relationship, this is your birthright. It is a choice. It's not your fault that that you've been showing up insecure, but it's your responsibility to heal what causes us to show up as insecure so that we become containers within a current relationship we're at. They step up to meet us, or we then part ways, not in resentment, but with an open heart, because we're now creating a secure container somewhere else. We're pulled in another direction because we won't tolerate being treated any less than the high state that we're treating ourselves. So that's really what I wanted to share with you and the tribe this go, because this whole concept of secure relationship has really eluded us as a species, and we can't truly be healthy until we learn the skills. It's a skill. It's a practice. It takes months, and it's a work in progress. And it's probably the most important skill you never learned growing up. And so luckily, there are places we can go to learn them now.
Mhm. Wow, you have just absolutely delivered so much value in that call. Like, I'm sure there are pages and pages of notes. I'm going to go back and listen to it as well.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
One of my favorite calls, I think, that we've done.
I
You
feel
were
like
going
I felt like absolute shit, and my hair is an absolute mess, and it was your favorite call. Go fucking figure.
and
I'm feeling absolutely miserable right now, but I'm glad that this landed for you. My back is killing me.
it really has. Look, the thing is, and thank you for jumping on when you're not 100%.
Oh, yeah. No worries. I wouldn't miss it.
But, you know, the quality of our relationships filters into every area of our life, our ability to show up in business, in friendships, as parents. And that's why this stuff is so incredibly important and so valuable and so needed. You were going to share a little bit about the integrated masculine, but maybe we save that topic for the next call.
We'll do that for the next one. Yes, the integrated masculine. Yes, people who want like a man who is in touch with his feminine side, or you want a masculine male. You don't want a fully masculine male who hasn't integrated his feminine. So we can talk about kind of masculine feminine integration. Essentially integrating our shadows is really the way, the path to healing. And when I discovered this, I left my full-time chiropractic practice. I wear black as much as possible because I love talking about our shadows, those unwanted parts of ourselves that we hate. The more we learn how to integrate those parts of ourselves, the more kind of complete, whole, healthy human beings we become internally, and then our relationships will reflect the peaceful nature of the relationship we have within ourselves, and all of these warring parts within ourselves that are sometimes against one another. You can learn how to create that inner peace first, and then externally you're able to see a shift in the dynamics of all your relationships. That's what all our clients say. They say that their relationships have completely transformed. They're able to set boundaries without having boundary lessons, because once you integrate those parts of yourself, you get a clear idea of who it is that you are. You're able to communicate that and say, this is who I am. I'm not available for anything less than that, because this is how I'm treating myself. I don't tolerate anything less than that. And so your friendships and relationships start to merge to meet you up there. And that's really our work. And it's super important work for all of us to take on.
Absolutely. You have an incredible Instagram post right there. I'm not sure exactly your words, but our relationships in life, our external relationships are a reflection of the internal peace and relationship we have with ourselves. That is so fucking powerful. So amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go and snuggle with the family and hopefully feel better soon. And we will definitely have you on again soon to extend on this conversation. Thank you so much.
Anytime. I love contributing, and your tribe is amazing, and they're conscious seeking souls, and willing to take on the work and to become cycle breakers, essentially. This is for people who are now ready to put aside the blame game and to say, look, I wasn't conscious how I ended up here. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't that person's fault, but here we are. And so it's now my capability and my responsibility to go inward instead of projecting outward, and heal those parts that have me show up insecure, so that I can have the holy grail of human existence, which is secure attachments in all relationships, with clients, with business associates, with family, with friends. You can show up the real you. You can take off that mask and say, this is me. This is what I'm available for. Some people might not like it, and I'm okay with it, even though it might hurt a little bit. I choose to be my authentic self. And so your world will open up and meet you there if you invest in yourself and take it on.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Nima. Next week, make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. Queensland time, because we have a sex and intimacy coach joining us. So it's going to get extra juicy. I'm excited about this call. It's going to be lots of fun. But we will see you again soon, Nima. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.